So we've learned how to lock our content, and now I'm going to show you why. So I am pretending like I am a teacher. I am in my blueprint for sure, and I want to add a new page. So remember, you click pages, then view all pages. I'm going to add a page. This is my new page. I'm going to add this. There's a sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and save and publish. So I've added a new page to my pages, so the bones of my course, and I'm not going to lock it. So since I've made a change, you always go over to your blueprint and you sync changes to make sure that they push over to your shell course. Sometimes it takes a few seconds depending on how many changes you have to make. So now it's finished, and I can click the little X there. I'm going to go to my dashboard now, because I want to see my page on my shell course. So in my pages on my shell course, here's my new page. It pushed over for me. I'm going to go in and make sure it's got the information I want. Here's my sentence. But in the heat of this moment here, I realize I forgot to add something. Because my page is not locked and I'm forgetting that I am not in my blueprint, I click edit. And I go in and I make an edit to this page and I save. Because I just made a change to this page in my shell course, I've created what's called an exception. An exception is basically where you're telling Canvas, I am making this change and I do not ever want my blueprint to push over any changes to this page ever again. So anytime you make a change on a page within your shell that's receiving information from a blueprint, you're telling Canvas, don't push changes anymore to that page. It's a page-by-page basis. So I'm going to show you what it looks like on that exception side of things. So I've made my change. I'm going to go back to my blueprint at a later time here because I'm going to go build. All right, so I'm going to go into my pages here on my blueprint and view all pages. I'm going to go add to my new page. Oh no, I'm realizing that something I added isn't there anymore. What normally happens is people forget that they've made that change on the sandbox, so they think stuff has just disappeared. So I go edit, I add my exception, or actually example here, and then another new sentence. This is really important information that students need to know. Okay, so I'm doing it right this time because I'm in my blueprint. Save. I'm going to go and sync my change. All right, so I've done that. Now, a few days down the line, students are saying they don't see the information. And I'm wondering why they're not seeing the information. So I'm going to go back to my shell course, the one that the students see. Students only see the shell. They don't see the blueprint. So I'm going to go back into pages. They're saying they're not seeing important information on that new page. When I click on that new page, it's not there. Students aren't seeing it because when I made this original change where I made this edit, I broke the link. Okay, so at this point, it's very frustrating because you have information that your students need. It was a small oversight, and we need to figure out what's going on. So the first thing that you should do is to go see if an exception was actually made. And the way you do that is you go into your blueprint, because you want to click on that little blue icon in the upper right-hand corner of your blueprint, because we're going to look at sync history. Sync history is where you're going to find out if an exception was made. So on my new page, I made an exception within this shell course because I updated the content. So whenever you see the exception, that means that for this page, the link has been broken to the blueprint. And there is no fixing it on that page. The way we can fix it is to make a new page in the blueprint and put the information on the new page, because we're going to set up a new connection. Once you've made an exception on a page, you just have to get rid of the page, unfortunately. If there is a better way to do that, I invite anybody to let me know, because as of now, this is how I've been fixing it. So here's how I fix the problem. I'm going to get out of the sync history here. I am going to open up both my my blueprint and my shell. So I've got my two that I'm going to be working in. I'm going to go in the page section of both of them. And I like to do this simultaneously so that I make sure to get everything here. So I'm in pages of both. So starting in my shell, the ones the student sees, I am going to delete this page because it's broken. If you have information that's on this page that's not on the blueprint, I'd highly suggest that you copy it before you delete it. So I've taken that off. I go over to my blueprint. It's still there because that's, once I delete from my shell, it doesn't take anything off the blueprint. So what I've done in the past is I duplicate the page and then I delete the old one. So now when I go into this page, I can take the word copy off. I can make sure it has all of the information. Save and publish because it's a new page. And so I'm going to go back to my pages because I am going to make sure now that I lock this guy so that I don't make this mistake again. And I'm going to go ahead and lock that one too. So I made a change on my blueprint. I have to go back and sync. So ideally what this is going to do is it's going to create a new page for my blueprint or for my shell. And so if I go over here and I refresh, I've got the new page. It's set up, so it's brand new. It's got the same information. It's locked. When I go into it, it's got all the information that needs to be there, and I can't make the same mistake again. I know that was a lot of back and forth, but I mean, it's a reasonably easy fix. But this is why you lock pages. Lock your content so that this doesn't happen again. You don't have to go through all of this mess.